My soulmate is too old for me. A young woman believes that she's finally found her soulmate. However, is her love real, or will she abandon her potential soulmate? Find out in today's episode of Coach Ben's Case by Case.
I think I found my soulmate, but I'm too young. I truly believe I've met my soulmate. He's perfect in every way. He's a gentleman, very respectful of me and my boundaries, never pushy, very chill and comedic manner. He makes me laugh. He cares for me when I'm sick or stressed. He's my best friend, my number one support. He's had my back through some seriously tough times. We've been dating for around 6 months, but have known each other and been mutually crushing on each other for about 2 years. He's gentle and affectionate. Our sex life is pretty good. However, there's a catch to all of this. The age gap between us means we're in totally different life stages. I'm a full-time student working part-time and constantly broke. He has a full-time stable job. I'm always looking to try and do new things. He's already been through that stage.
All right, pretty straightforward. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we have here. So she's 22, and she thinks that she found her soulmate, and he's 34 years old. So he's the older one here. The boyfriend is older, significantly. But I'm too young. I think I found my soulmate, but I'm too young. That's what we're dealing with here. I truly believe I've met my soulmate. He's perfect in every way. Sounds great? He's a gentleman, very respectful of me and my boundaries. Never pushy, very chill, and comedic manner. He makes me laugh. He cares for me when I'm sick or stressed. He's my best friend. There you go. My number one support. He's had my back through some serious tough times. We've been dating for around 6 months. That's not too long, but have known each other and been mutually crushing on each other for over about 2 years. Okay, so 2 years crushing on each other, not doing anything until dating in 6 months, probably a sexual relationship at that point for 6 months. I'm assuming that's the case because we don't have any details so far. But about 2 years crushing on each other, yeah, but you're not living with each other. That's the most important phase there. But at least it's a friendship, so that's the best case scenario is a friendship. It's not guaranteed that something's going to come out of it, but let's see what happens. He's gentle and affectionate. Our sex life is pretty good. However, there's a catch to all of this, the age gap between us. Well, that shouldn't matter if you're in love. But let's go ahead and see what's going on. Means we're in totally different life stages. I'm a full-time student working part-time and constantly broke. He has a full-time stable job. I'm always looking to try and do new things. He's already been through that stage. Well, none of this should matter. These are just extra details about the relationship. Everybody has to make their living. And if you guys are going to be serious about coming together as one, this shouldn't be an issue. Money problems can be solved. Your age is something out of your hands. That shouldn't even be a factor. If you're saying that you've met your soulmate, that you actually believe this young woman truly believes, she said, that she's met her soulmate, then why should age be a factor? But we're going to have to need some more information in order to make any further judgment on this case. But so far, I'm going to just begin by saying age is just a number. A person is only old if they feel old. Your boyfriend, regardless of his age, should feel like going through any stage of love with you. And if he has to go through the stage again, then so be it, in order to be with each other. You know, many people are sadly obsessed with age over love, the number game, and they get paranoid and anxious about it. Just relax. Let love take its course. So let's go ahead and see how this case progresses, shall we?
Basically, he needs to settle down with someone serious to be happy. And I need to be free and trying new things and dating lots of people. Side note, we've been dating openly from the beginning, but he hasn't been with anyone else, whereas I have. I don't know how to make both work outside of some kind of open relationship deal, and even then, I'm not sure. I'm worried about tying myself down too soon before I've experienced everything. His past creates a couple of issues. He was previously married and divorced about 2 years before I met him. It definitely messed him up a bit, and he has residual abandonment issues that were amplified by a series of rebound relationships and hookups he went through post-divorce. In short, he's such a sweet person who is terrified that all the women he loves will eventually abandon him, and I absolutely will not be this person.
You know, I get a sense of immaturity in this case with this young woman. It sounds like she's speaking for the both of them, so to speak. It's like she's calling the shots without consulting her boyfriend first. So let's go ahead and see what she says here. Basically, he needs to settle down. See, she's already saying here what he needs to do. And that's just something that should not be happening. Like, how do you know what he's supposed to be doing? Why don't you just follow the relationship and see how it goes? But let's go ahead and see what else she has to say here. He needs to settle down with someone serious to be happy. I thought you were serious. You said you believe you found your soulmate, and he's the one. Sounds like you're pretty serious to me. Which one is it? I'm really curious at this point. I mean, why even proceed further? That's the main question so far. What's going on inside that mind and heart of yours? How do you truly feel about this man? How could you say that you believe you found your soulmate, but that he needs to settle down with someone serious and happy to be happy? Isn't he happy with you, I imagine? And I need to be free. Oh, so that's what this is about. You're having second guesses, aren't you? So you're the one with cold feet, but still had the nerve to say that he's your soulmate when that's clearly not evident. And trying new things. Like what? Going out with other people? Of course, she says it right here. And dating lots of people. Why lots of people? So you want to waste precious years of your life goofing around with, oh, I want to be with this kind of guy, this kind of guy. Why waste your time in your life with other people? You have to know who you want before even choosing someone. And go with someone who most accurately fits that profile that you're searching for. You have to know who you're attracted to physically, mentally, with the way they think, and emotionally, with the way they handle situations, their emotions, their expressions. Are they good-spirited? Are they mostly positive? Their feelings inside. So there's a lot wrong with this. And as I said before, there's a lot of immaturity in this case. Why lots of people? Side note, we've been dating openly from the beginning, but he hasn't been with anyone else, whereas I have. Okay, so you're not ready for the long-term commitment. You're not ready for a serious lifelong relationship. He probably is. We don't know anything about him from his perspective. But we already know how free you want to be to goof around with other guys or to try other guys. So it sounds like you do need to go with somebody else and figure out what you really want in this life. And hopefully you don't play around with his heart and mind too. I don't know how to make both work. You can't have your cake and eat it too. What are you talking about? This is horrible. What do you mean make it both work? Now we're in the toxic section, and I didn't expect this. So she wants to play with a man who's looking for a lifelong committed relationship, and she also wants to goof around with other men at the same time. Outside of some kind of open relationship deal, love is not a deal. You do not make a deal. You don't say, here's the deal. We're going to have an open relationship, which is a failed relationship. Because if you can't love one person with all of your heart and soul, there is no relationship. Why do you need third parties involved? Because one is clearly not enough. And the truth hurts. And you can't handle that. And even then, I'm not sure. That's what the problem is. You're not sure about anything. And unfortunately, I hope this doesn't break his heart when you tell him how you truly feel. Unless he already knows how you feel. We don't know. I'm worried. Okay, so she's worried about tying myself down too soon before I've experienced everything. What is there to experience when you have your future right before you, your future of happiness, with who you called a soulmate in the very beginning? Why jeopardize that connection that you've already invested 2 years of your life? It is an investment. Because I imagine that you've given it your all, but if it was always open and you've been messing around with other guys, does he know that? He may have agreed to it and is enjoying the experience on a satisfactory level, but perhaps deep down inside he's suffering, knowing that you're not all to him. You don't belong to him. Your heart and your soul, your mind, you're not fully committed is what I'm saying. Nobody owns another person, but I'm saying that soulmates, the mating of two souls together, that's mind, body, and spirit. That's emotionally connected, mentally connected, physically connected, and your souls, if you choose to believe in the existence of a soul, which I do. Soulmates. That means everything. So don't dare use the term soulmate when you're not that serious. You're here saying that he needs to go goof around like you want to goof around, and you want both. You have to know what you want in this life. Either you're going to be dedicated all the way, an absolute. That's what love is. It's an absolute. There is no turning back unless something goes wrong. And if you're not ready to write with the permanent marker, you're not ready for a lifelong relationship. You're still using a pencil with that eraser. Go ahead, by all means, go date other guys, see what it is that you want. But please, don't be breaking other men's hearts out there. And notice, she says that, well, he hasn't dated anybody else, but she has. So maybe he is serious about this relationship and you're not. Obviously, some type of trial period deal that deal was. And she's saying, before I've experienced everything, it's overrated. Even Mick Jagger going out with 100 girls, and it doesn't matter. There is no fun. It's just misery and suffering, because in the end, he's going to end up all alone, as will you if you choose to go down that dark path. That meaningless titanium dead-end wall. His past creates a couple of issues. I think so far you're the main issue, but let's go ahead and see what she thinks about his issues. He was previously married and divorced about 2 years before I met him. Okay, so he is looking for a long-term relationship. He just got over I would imagine, a very painful divorce. 2 years before you met him. Okay. It definitely messed him up a bit, and he has residual abandonment issues that were amplified by a series of rebound relationships and hookups he went through post-divorce. Of course he's affected. I imagine you wouldn't be affected because you want to be free to have what you called experiencing everything. But he's pretty serious. It sounds like he's serious. He's trying to find the next long-term relationship that potentially might succeed this time. So in short, she says, he's such a sweet person who is terrified that all the women he loves will eventually abandon him, which is what you're getting ready to do. And I absolutely will not be this person. It sounds like you will. You said that you need to have a free, open relationship and to feel that you're free to mess around with other guys and to be with this gentleman who I imagine is trying to find the one because his marriage didn't work out. And you're here trying to play with his heart. That's just very toxic. Let's go ahead and see how this concludes, shall we? Very sad case here. Not the saddest, but I hope this gentleman's going to come out okay, to say the least.
So I figure that now, while we're still dating somewhat casually, it's a good time for me to figure out if we're right together, before it becomes too painful for either of us to split if we need to. The above points are only weighing so heavily because while I love him so much that it makes my heart explode, I figure it's really important to be serious when thinking about committing to someone in a more permanent sense. I don't want to make the wrong choice and end up stuck with a wonderful person, while I want to be unstuck with nobody in particular. On the other hand, what if we did break up and I lived a loose and casual NSA life throughout my 20s, only to find I couldn't be happy with anyone but him? I love him, but I'm worrying about settling down while I'm only in my 20s and with very limited dating experience.
Okay, well, it sounds like you've already made the wrong choice by choosing to think the way you think. And that's the sad part here. So she's going through this brainstorming, trying to have both scenarios. So let's go ahead and see what's going on here. So I figure that now, while we're still dating somewhat casually, it's a good time for me to figure out if we're right together. It doesn't sound like it. Before it becomes too painful for either of us, it's not painful for you. Let's be very real here. This is not painful for you. It's probably going to be painful to him. To split up if we need to. You're the one who sounds like you want to split up because he's not going to accept this. A real man's not going to accept this. For you to be having open-ended relationships with other men and having him on the side as your pretend lifelong relationship. This is like playing house or tea party when little girls, like playing games, and you're supposed to be a fully fledged adult by now. So why the games? Why do you want to pretend as if you really love this man, calling him your soulmate, and you're out there with other guys, and he's not fooling around, but you are? This is... Okay, so the above points are only weighing so heavily because while I love him so much, you don't love this man. You do not love this man. Anybody involved in an open-end relationship does not love the other person. He may be trying to love you, but he's so traumatized he doesn't want to lose you, knowing that he doesn't have you all to himself. So he's probably in a desperate situation where he's so heartbroken from his divorce that he's willing to hold on to you just because. Maybe you'll get serious and choose him and not be with the other guys. But you can't do that. You already said that you can't do that. You need your freedom because you're younger than him. That's just abusing the man's heart. That it makes my heart explode. Talk about your heart exploding. Okay, I gotta just move on with this case. There's so much I can say with what she's wrote here. So... This is, wow. I figure it's really important to be serious when thinking about committing to someone in a more permanent sense. I don't think you know what that word means, permanent. This is a young woman who has no idea what she wants. She wants a long-term relationship and to date, meaning having sex as well with other men. That's not respectable. That's not a real woman. And from this point forward, I'm just going to call her a female, a young female. Toxic, unfortunately. I don't want to make the wrong choice. Oh, but you have. You certainly have. Multiple wrong choices. And end up stuck with a wonderful person. How would you... Why would you feel stuck while I want to be unstuck with nobody in particular? My goodness. Well, it doesn't sound like you'll be stuck under the agreement that you want with him. Because you said that you'll be free to go out with anybody you want and be with him. Have your cake and eat it too. So you talking about being stuck makes absolutely no sense here. On the other hand, it's probably the same hand. What if we did break up and I lived a loose and casual NSA life throughout my 20s? That's what you're going to do anyways. From what it sounds like. You're insisting that that's what you really want. Even though you call this guy a soulmate. Only to find I couldn't be happy with anyone but him. Well, that's the gamble you're going to have to take. It's now or never. And you don't know what you have until you lose it. So if you want to choose to lose this gentleman, which I don't know much about, but I'm just going by always, whatever the case says. He's a great guy, she says. He's the perfect soulmate for her, she says. It doesn't sound like it because she says I couldn't be happy with anyone but him. You're going to have to find that out the hard way. And maybe he's not willing to take you back. Because if you're going to tell all of this stuff that you're telling to the world, to this gentleman, he's most likely not going to accept that after having a divorce. Unless he's given up on life and says, okay, we can date, you can see other guys too, open-end relationship till the rest of my life, I give up. Maybe this gentleman's going to give up and say, I can't find love, because of my first divorce. And he tosses in the towel and he says, I give up on trying to find a potential soulmate. Then yes, I guess he's open to have such a crazy relationship with you, sharing you with other men, and he shares himself with other women. I guess he's going to have to get used to that too. I love him. No, you don't. But I'm worrying about settling down while I'm only in my 20s. There's the obsession over the age again. And with very little dating experience. Look, there is no such thing as dating experience. Your experience is a tough teacher because it gives the test first and the lesson afterwards. Life is all about having the test. Whenever you can prepare, go ahead. But your experience is the experience. You don't need to have experience with multiple people in order to say, oh, now I have experience. That's the same as saying that I need to work as a carpenter, a lawyer, a doctor. I need to experience all of these professions. In the end, it's a job. It's a career. So it doesn't matter how many different people you date. In the end, you're going to have to answer the question, is this person everything that I am seeking in a potential future soulmate? That's the question. It makes no difference how many you can date everybody and anybody from all different countries and ethnicities and races and find out what you like. And I'm sad to know if that's the case, because you're supposed to naturally feel, just gravitate towards what kind of person you're attracted to already. You're an adult. You should know who you're attracted to, what kind of person you're physically, mentally, and emotionally. How they think, how they behave, what they look like. You shouldn't have to be exploring at this point. And you feel that that's how... This is a very big misconception. And it's sad that people are still pushing this message, this toxic message, that you have to date all kinds of people in order to know what you like. That's just truly false, because that's the same as choosing a profession. The same thing as I pointed out. You don't have to try all the professions to know what you like. Just go with your feelings. Which one would you like doing for the rest of your life? And yes, some people change professions. I get it. But love is not a profession. Love is something that you feel, and you should enjoy every moment of it, because if you guys mutually feel happy together, then the happiness is only going to increase. And you'll never have that urge to feel like you want to jump ship and get off the train, get off the wagon, end the relationship for whatever reason. It takes two to tango. So this case is mighty sad if you ask me, but luckily there's no children involved. They're not married. We don't know how the gentleman feels. But once again, you have to know precisely what you are looking for in a relationship. The young woman in this case clearly chose to be naive, and hopefully it doesn't continue, but who knows? And most likely will end up ruining what could have been a perfect soulmate relationship. That's what she's going to do, most likely. It's sad to say, but if I had to bet, that's probably what's going to happen most likely. But luckily, in a way, the older man here in this relationship, the boyfriend, won't have his heart broken. I imagine not, because he's already had his heart broken via his divorce. The boyfriend in this case clearly deserves someone far more mature to spend the rest of his life with in order to live happily ever after. Unfortunately, far too many immature people jump into rushed relationships, playing games with people's hearts and minds. Maturity and certainty are a must in order for love to work. So, make up your mind, young lady, right? You want to mess around with people's hearts and call that experience, because I'll tell you what, that's a time waster. You're going to waste precious years of your life running around from guy to guy. In the end, you're going to have to answer the same question. What do I really want? And guess what? All those guys that you thought that you had a great time with, they're not going to be there waiting for you. You're just gonna, it's like musical chairs. You're gonna be left with the last chair that you sat in. Okay? So that's how that's gonna end for you. So if you're like, no, I want chair number 1. I was wrong this whole time. Well, chair number 1 has already left the scene, never to return. He's not gonna accept you back after you've, quote unquote, experienced life, a dating experience. That's nonsense. What an insult to that guy who was ready, and he didn't mess around with anybody else except for you in an open-end relationship. That gentleman said, no, I just need you. See, he was in love. But you want your freedom. Love is supposed to be freedom. It sets you free, your heart and soul free. That's real freedom, young lady. Not what you want to do. You know, hit the clubs and the discotheques and getting crazy and drunk and having sex with a bunch of guys. If you think that's wise, intelligent, and love, if you think that's in the realm of love, you are severely mistaken, greatly mistaken, and I have no other words for you. So, this, by the way, is not how I coach people offline. These cases, I don't know who these people are, but from what I've read here, if I had to really speak to this young lady, it would be in a far more professional tone. But here, this is just ridiculous. If I had to just say openly about this particular case, it's toxic, it's damaging to the realm of love, because a lot of people are going through this with people who are not serious, and they'll lie to your face saying, yes, you're my perfect soulmate. And they just, deep down inside, they want to be with as many other women or guys as they want because, well, reasons such as age. I mean, how lousy is that? Either you're committed or you're not. It's a permanent marker when it comes to the word love. So if you're not ready to write with the permanent marker, stick to the pencil. But when that eraser runs out, when your eraser runs out and you need another pencil, you've already wasted a decade or two of your life messing around and playing around with other people's hearts and minds. So those are my words of advice in this case. I was hoping to see a happy case in this case, but it seems like they're either impossible to find these days. I'll try to find probably better cases, but this one, as it stands, a toxic young lady, just another toxic female, and hopefully that guy doesn't feel like a victim and moves on to find somebody better. This has been Coach Ben's Case by Case. Much love, everybody.